Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to a beautiful and sunny, yet very cold Moscow. Now I'm right here by the Moscow River. It's actually frozen over. We could actually walk to the other side. It's that frozen today. It's minus 15 outside, even with the sun shining. But I've come to see a pretty cool ferry, and I've been on it before when it first opened, but I thought I had to come right now in winter and check it out again. So let's head on over there and go for a ferry ride, shall we? As I walk towards the pontoon and the jetty where the boat leaves from, you can actually see one of them just leaving off in the distance here. These are actually special hulled boats, especially for use year-round here on the Moscow River. They've actually got a special hull on them that actually break the ice and allow them to be used here on the river when it's frozen over like this. You can actually see there's just this faint passage where the boats can pass, and then the rest of the river here is literally frozen over. You can see the steam coming out of the power station off in the distance. Everybody's got their central heating on in their apartments today. How beautiful does it look? It's actually unbelievable nice weather today after it being snowy and cold the last few days. So I thought it was only appropriate that I come down to the river today and make this river cruise together with everybody watching. Where we're going to get on the boat is actually the last stop at the end of the line, and we're going to ride it to the very first stop at the other end. So I came especially here to Pechatniki Park, and this is where the actual riverboat launches from. And of course, winter or summer, there's always going to be people out in the park here coming for a walk. No matter how cold it is, it's never too cold to come out and have a walk on a day like today. Of course, we're going to get on the ferry fairly soon, but I thought it's pretty neat to see it from here, going through the ice and making its way to the next stop. And it just goes very slowly. Of course, it's electric, so you're not hearing motors and, engines running. And it's very cool once we get on board. If you haven't seen my original video of this, I think this is going to be a nice, interesting tour and video for you to watch here from Moscow. For this video, we're actually going to go on the second line of the electric ferry or electric boat, and it's going to go from Zil to Pechatniki. Actually, we're going to be doing it in reverse, but this is the actual way they name the stations. And we're over here, and we're going to end up over here basically. And you can get off at different stops along the way, and it connects to different metro stations, so you can get on and off as you wish. We're going to ride one entire direction. Of course, being in Russia, pretty much all of the signage is in Russian and in Cyrillic. It's not expected to be in English. This was actually designed around an extension of the metro and the bus network here in Moscow. So a lot of it's the same signage and the same explanation of how you can travel. And it also just explains here, a trip is 150 rubles, so about $1.50. And that's in one direction. And then you can actually pay by credit card, facial recognition, and the Troika card is actually the card that you can use to add money or top up to use on the metro if you're using it every day of the week, just like I do. This is actually my Troika card here, which I used to get here on the metro. But for this trip, I'm actually going to use my ATM card or bank card. It's just an easier payment system for me for this trip. And we can see here the next boat ready to go. I haven't checked the schedule yet. I thought I'd go for a bit of a walk around and show everybody and you guys watching what it looks like here at the actual first or last stop, and just the scenery as well, because it's just beautiful. And have a look at the ice in the water right here. Now, if you really do follow my channel, 2 weeks ago I was here at the river and there was a swimming championships, and people were literally getting in the water not too far from here and going swimming. Can you believe that? Just to give you an idea of the popularity of this, when it first opened back in summer, I was actually there on the first day of opening, and there was a 4-hour line to ride these boats. The actual local administration run them for free for the first week, and of course everyone takes advantage of that and goes on that first day or second day of opening. But of course in winter time now, there's not so many people here taking the trips, even though it's a great way to spend an afternoon. For 150 rubles, I think it's the best value excursion you can have in Moscow right now. It's pretty simple to go on board. There's a lady right here who's just checking bags and making sure we're not carrying anything untoward on board. And then we just walk on down the ramp, and then we're going to go into the actual pontoon here, which is actually out on the river. And this actually also acts as the charging port for the boats. So when they're actually docked against the side of the pontoon, they actually charge in between the trips, which is also pretty neat. And these pontoons are just very futuristic looking, almost like little spaceships here on the Moscow River. I've actually done this trip during winter twice before. I did it about a month ago with some friends who were actually subscribers of the channel. We wanted to come and do it together, so 3 of us came down here and did the trip. And I've done it once with my wife, and I thought it's only appropriate I come on my own and film the video, where it's a little bit easier to walk around and not be, you know, trying to avoid people in the shot like friends or family and stuff. Have a look at that view once again, and that ice. Oh my gosh, it just looks cold. I'm sure it is as well. And then we're going to head on inside in just a second. And then the view out in the other direction. I'm not sure what these ducks are up to. They're obviously just chilling and hanging around and waiting for this snow to melt and for summer to come here in Moscow. Now walking onto the pontoon and then inside this very futuristic looking waiting area to get on the boats. And it's actually beautiful and warm in here. There's a little welcome counter. You can actually also get coffee and tea if you want as well. And then of course we saw from outside the boat that's docked here, which I think is either the next one or the one after. I'm not sure just yet. And then you can see here the system to get on the boat. This is quite similar to what they've got in the metro. This is probably a little bit more modernized. So you can actually see on the floor here, there's a picture of a head and shoulders. And then if you actually stand here, you can actually do facial recognition payment, and that will be linked to your Troika card and then to the app on your phone and your payment. And you can literally have it basically recognize your face and the payment is done and you walk through. Otherwise, if you've got either a credit card or a Troika card, you tap it right here and then the gate would open. And of course, we're going to do that once we're ready to board our boat and go on inside. I intentionally came a little bit earlier than the next scheduled ferry, so I could do the beginning of this video, all the bits you've seen up until now. And I've got about an hour or so to wait till the next one. Now, of course, this is a weekend schedule, so it's a little bit more spread out, the boats that come and go. And I can go for a little bit of a walk in the park and then come back and get on the ferry, continue the video. And here's the map once again, which we saw outside. And this is basically like a TV screen or a digital map. And again, you can see where at this end over here, where is the park. And then we're going to ride all the way to Zil over here on the other end. So it's either we're going from the start to the finish or in reverse, depending on how you look at it. And then there's a bit of a walk to the metro station, which is not really that far. It says 20 minutes, but it's about 10 or 12 minutes really. And just like that, the next boat is pulling in, and they literally turn and then they essentially dock or port into the side of the pontoon here. And of course, in this weather, they do a very skillful job of turning on the ice And these hulls of the boats are specially designed for this weather and to break the ice as they travel. And it's pretty impressive to see them doing this docking technique. Okay, so it looks like it's our boarding time, and everybody here I've been waiting with, ready to get on board. And of course, we can see the payment system here. So some people are using their phone, which is basically tap and go. You can also use the payment cards. Actually, someone here actually has a Moscow card, which is even easier. And I'm going to use my card right here, and I'm going to go on board just like this with everybody else. Looks like I'm the lucky last. And just like that, green is go. And we're going to go right on board. Lucky last. The one thing they've also got here is they've got heated salons. So there's a button to go inside, just like that. And we can go on inside and have a look at the interior of the boat right here. Wow, have a look at the windows too. So you've got absolutely panoramic views of the Moscow River. Stunning. And just like that, we're underway. And you can see where we pulled away from the pontoon there and the docking station. And then the next boat has already pulled up. And actually, the one after it is right here as well. So I'm going to walk through the boat quite a few times. Hopefully we'll have some nice scenery along the way. Everybody's relaxed now and chilling out after a little bit of a wait. Again, we can see the map here. This is actually the other route that you can also take from Kiev railway station up to Moscow City. And we're on Route 2 right now. This for me is the VIP spot here on the boat. These two tables are right at the back. And there's two very lucky families got to have the ultimate view, or I think it is anyway. And they've even got these overhead windows as well. And you can see this ice as we're going forward now, and how it's breaking the ice as we're going along the river. I really do hope you're enjoying this video. I'm really enjoying making the video and coming on this electric ferry or electric tram, and I hope it comes across in the video. Just the amazing scenery and the technology that goes into this boat is just next level. And the fact that this is the only ferry in the whole world that works year-round regardless of the weather conditions, and it's the only electric ferry that's doing this in the entire world. I'm not really sure if it comes out on camera. There's actually quite a loud kind of groaning noise. It's actually a little bit louder on this trip than I've done in the previous trips, because really and truly this thing is breaking the ice. The front of the hull is an intentional design, and it looks like we're kind of going to the abyss of the ice right here. And literally, not more than about 30 meters away, there's a couple of guys ice fishing right on the river. And then there's this very small, narrow channel that we're taking that's kind of breaking up as the boat is moving. I'm not sure from this angle if you can tell that we're turning. I'll turn the camera slightly. We're doing a full turnaround here of the river to get back out into the open water. Yeah, it's amazing, really. Now, of course, this ferry or boat is electric, but in reality, if we didn't have this ice breaking capability, there'd be little to no sound at all. So if you were here in summertime when there's a clear river, you wouldn't hear anything. And we're coming up to our first station here. And how lucky are these people who live right here in these apartments? Firstly, the location right by the river, and the fact that they can get on a Electric Ferry right next to where they live. One of the other reasons I chose to come in the afternoon time is with winter here in Russia, the sun sets quite a lot earlier. So as we go a little bit further down the river, we should get some nice views of the sunset here. I don't think there's a person on the boat that's not stared at these apartments, and perhaps in our head we wish we could live there, you know, have the beautiful view of the river. I think everybody on this boat's looking and staring at them and wish we could have a chance to live next to the Moscow River. Now I'm going to walk through the boat here and point out a few features for you. Now when I did this in summertime, I wasn't sure what WC meant, and now I know it's water closet. Now, did everybody know that? It's interesting too, they've got it in Russian and in English. They've also got the part of the room made up for the children, and they also have it in Braille as well, which is super interesting. And you know, just the next level that they've gone to in the small details of the boat. If you've got a wheelchair, there's also seat belts to attach into. Now, of course, pretty much everybody on the boat here has somewhere to sit and hang out. And the other thing they have, which I'll show at the next table, is they've got fast charging here. So you can lay your phone right down onto the desk and charge your phone. Now, this is where I'm actually sitting, and this wonderful family has got their phones on charge right here, and one of them at least, that's charging up. So it's pretty neat how they've got fast charging on the boat. And also I just noticed as well, they've got cup holders as well, so you can put your drinks or your cups right here if you brought one with you. Maybe you got a tea or coffee on the pontoon before the boat left. Well, look now, that sun setting. Oh, it's very nice, although it's so cold outside. But I think there's not a person in the boat that's unhappy with the weather today. As we keep going along the route, we've actually just pulled into another station. There's a few people getting on and off at each middle station. I think most people tend to do the start and end stations and ride it as a bit of a tour more than using it practically to go somewhere, especially on the weekends like now. You can see the sun slowly setting in the background, and that beautiful sky, especially today with the blue skies we've had all day, is just looking even more amazing by the minute. So I do have a question for everybody. Where you live in the world, do you have local ferries that maybe go between where you live in the city or somewhere in a regional area? Have you been on a ferry? And then I wonder how many people have been on an electric ferry just like this. I'm sure there's some others in the world. Of course, this is the world's first year-round electric ferry. It's quite a specific thing, and you can see that ice that it's breaking, and that's why this particular one is unique, because it can break the ice, and no matter, every day of the week it'll run, snowing, sunny, raining, everything. I think slowly as we go further down the river, there is less grumbling and groaning of the boat breaking the ice. I think we're in a bit more of a main waterway here, and of course being electric we wouldn't hear anything, but we just hear that groaning continuously, and there is, you know, all the fragments of ice as we're going by, and then right up to the river edge it's completely frozen, and you can walk out on it if you want to. I mean, those guys doing fishing, they've really got a bit of nerve. I guess they know how thick the ice is and it's not a problem. We'll look at these apartment blocks as we go by. What a view they've got of the river from here. Wow, that's really amazing. And then as we just pass over one of the traffic bridges, this particular one also has a metro line that goes over it as well, which is pretty neat. The actual middle part is the metro or the train, and then there's the car lanes on either side. Actually, you can see the train just there going by. Check that out. as we keep going along on this cruise or trip, and where I'm sitting here with this nice family, we were just talking that it's not necessarily a river cruise, it's more like a real estate tour of Moscow. And as we go along the different embankments, we can see whole new micro districts coming literally out of the ground, like grass growing, and how many new buildings there are. And I think even everybody just staring out the window, you know, having a look at places that probably they've never seen, or even I've never seen. And it's just so fascinating, all of this micro districts that we're going by. You'll see again on this side another set of apartment buildings here with the cranes, and just more housing. Just, it's like they never end in Moscow. And there's some more here just ahead of us. And interestingly, the complex is called Rotterdam, and perhaps that's the developer's name, or maybe the building name in the future. But there's a bit of an ode to Europe right there with these buildings. And as we come now to our last stop or final destination, I feel like the movie, and the river certainly has cleared up a lot now that we're closer to the center. And you can see now how it's literally free of ice. And that last portion of the trip before we got to our last stop now is just almost silent and quiet. Also, a few people got off at the previous stop, so you can see how there's more seats available here. And I'm going to slowly get my jacket on and head on outside. And just like that, we're here at the last station, Station Zeal. Now, if you haven't heard of Zeal before, it's actually the name of a car company or a factory that was producing cars for many, many years. And pretty much the whole territory was the factories for producing cars and different machinery. And now, as we step on outside, have a look, all the factories are gone, and now apartments and houses and an entire micro district has been built. Very beautiful part of Moscow too. You know, the region that they've built and designed here, and then the conveniences of public transport, and then the river ferry. So nice. And that view back down the river, it's hard to take your eyes off it. One of the really nice things with all these new developments and new micro districts are these walking paths right by the river, and you can walk for tens of kilometers along these paths, and it basically wraps around the whole edge of the Moscow River, particularly here in the center of Moscow. It just makes for a nice afternoon stroll, even with this cold weather. You know, it's still beautiful. Have a look at the sky tonight, and as we swing around, we'll get almost a last look at the ferry. They actually have both docked in the spot where we got off right there, and I'm not sure which is the next one to leave. It's around about 20 minutes from now. The next one will leave on its return journey to the other side, or the other end where we started from. What did you think? Would you want to come on this journey for 150 rubles, or about $1.50, or €1.50? What could you get for that? You can't even get a cup of coffee anywhere for that price. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it come out good. I never know till I get home and I start editing it how it's going to look, and I hope the scenery that I saw comes out on the video, and perhaps you're watching on a TV or somewhere that just shows the beauty of the Moscow River and this electric river tram. I still really haven't settled on a name for it. Maybe let me know in the comments what the technical word is for what we went on. It's an electric ferry, electric river tram, electric boat. I think all of them sound correct, so let me know what you think it is. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. and post a comment. Like I've said, a few questions here and there. Would you want to come on this boat? Would you like to come traveling with Russell on this boat? Maybe if you're in Moscow, we can do this trip together again. I could do this more than once, no matter winter or summer. I think it's just such a nice afternoon and a nice way to spend a few hours in Moscow. If you'd like to follow me on Telegram, there'll be a link to my Telegram channel coming up right here. You can click that now. If you want to check out an old video on the channel, there's one right here for you to watch. Perhaps something you've not seen before. Maybe one of the parks of Moscow. I'll put that as a next video for you. As I'm heading to my metro to go home. Bye, everybody.